Welcome everybody. It's our 46th episode. It is Thursday at 1:30 and we're doing our Facebook Live. Today we got myself, Chris Gilbert, and Kyle Fisher. We're going to talk about Transmission Stiction Eliminator, and as always we're going to try to dive into some of the education behind it and how we developed the product, why we developed it, what it does, things like that. Be sure to like or share us on the video so that your friends and neighbors will tune in. And we switched our time over to Thursdays to see if this was a better time for everybody. So let us know. Give us some feedback on that. Do you like the Thursday or do you like the Friday better? Fridays are always tough because we've got people going to races and events, so we thought we'd move it over to Thursday.
And clearly Thursday surprised me.
Thursday did surprise you. We're sitting here all by ourselves waiting on Kyle, wondering if he was going to make it or not.
I'm here. I made it.
That's all right. Me and Levi could have done it.
This 1:30 sneaks up, though.
It does. It seems really early in the day compared to 3 o'clock.
But we're here. We're here. So, of course, announcement, dealer specials. Oh, this is the last chance on this week. We don't do this very often, so if you know a shop out there, go ahead and tag them. We're always looking for new dealers. Our dealer special right now is 10% off our Stiction Eliminator cases. So, last 2 days to get in on that. So, if there are dealers out there that need to restock on Stiction Eliminator or take advantage of a good deal on it, get an extra 10 points on that. And if you order 3 of those cases of Stiction Eliminator, we're going to throw in 3 bottles of our Gas Extreme so you guys can try that out as well.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, we do have a hard close today at 2:30. So if you have a question, get it in early because I need to leave and you need to leave.
I'll be here all day. We're going to stay until 5. I'm just kidding.
No, you need to leave at 2:30 too. We both have an event down in Columbus.
Oh, I'm staying.
At the Smart 50.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna miss
that's right.
That.
Well, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah,
You guys might have seen our post on social media. Congratulations to Chris. He was one of the nominees for Columbus Smart 50. It's recognizing the top business leaders in Central Ohio, and you were under the innovation nomination. And so today's a mixer they're having, and then I believe in a couple weeks here is the big gala.
Yep, July 18th we have a gala, and they'll announce the winners for the Smart 50.
Right.
And there's a lot of really heavy hitters in there, so.
There are. I saw the list.
Yeah, we're probably not going to be worried about winning, which is good. Then I don't have to give a speech, so that's good. I go and enjoy myself.
Have a speech prepared. But there were some big names in Ohio on there, so we're proud to have Chris be recognized as one of the top 50. And really, I saw most of them are generally like kind of Columbus area located, the big giant corporations that we have downtown.
Right.
So to get Mount Gilead, we're just outside of out of Columbus to get some representation up here.
We're like 30 miles north of Columbus, a couple exits north. So we're excited. I feel very excited about the whole thing, and I'm proud that we got nominated. And it's really about the company. It's innovative companies, and it's all you.
It's really
folks
about Chris.
No, it's not.
Yes,
you guys know the products that we've come up with and the innovation that we do. It is a very innovative place. So I'm glad that we're getting recognized for that.
Yeah,
and
that's
it'll
great.
be exciting to see if we win. But today there's a mixer down in Columbus, and it's about a 45-minute drive. So we want to get out of here at 2:30 and be there in time.
All right.
So how about a recap of last weekend's race? How did we do?
Well, you almost skipped by Levi's web special. He's not going to have that.
Well, no. See, it's a recap of last weekend's race.
Oh, we're going to cover that. Let's going to get up to it.
Okay.
That's just the preview. So why don't you tell them about the web special?
For 1 week only, we have a free bottle of EDT. Wait, what's it say? Free bottle summer special of EDT. What do they have to buy to get that?
Buy 4 16-ounce bottles, get 1 free.
Okay, that treats 2,000 gallons of fuel, so that's
Yep.
that's quite a bit.
I'm assuming that could be squeeze or around? Just squeeze. So buy 4 16-ounce squeeze bottles of our EDT, and you're going to get 1 free. An extra 400 gallons there, of coverage. So, and anybody who uses our EDT, it ain't going to be the last bottle you buy. So
No.
it's a good time to stock up. I get you through your next 2,000 gallons of fuel and nice and covered.
Yeah, EDT is one of those products that it should be a mainstay in your truck, all your diesel, your tractor, everything, because it does so much. It's such a multifunctional thing. It's got rust and corrosion inhibitors in it, moisture dispersants. It's going to raise the cetane and lubricity additive. You should not run any diesel vehicle without a lubricity additive. Whether it's ours or somebody else's, it's just not a good idea.
Right.
The level of damage that you can occur is just not worth the extra penny worth of additive that you need in there. And then what did I miss?
I forget, you're at 4, so I think you forgot the fuel stabilizer.
Fuel stabilizer, yep. It'll keep it stable for about 2 years, so that's always good.
There's one more, because it's 6-in-1, but I can't remember.
All
which
right,
first
we'll
one.
get back to that. But the point is, that's a $90 value, and it's only going to cost you $70, and it treats 2,000 gallons of fuel. So it's a really good deal.
And no coupon necessary. I think you have it bundled up already, so they can throw it in their cart and go. Great.
Excellent. And then,
We got a new article coming this week. The Harley Davidson and FR3 on a dyno.
yep,
This was, we did this a little while back.
yep.
And
That's when we first came out with the FR3. We were trying to test the parameters of it and how far could it go. Is it good and everything? And we were really trying to understand the technology, what we had developed. So we decided after we did semi-trucks, race cars, race trucks, regular cars, regular trucks, to try it on a Harley Davidson. And Brett took it to the Harley dealership in Cleveland and put it on a dyno. Did a couple runs before and then a couple runs after, and ended up with about a 5% increase in horsepower.
somewhere around there. I'm trying to see. We can almost kind of see now. 3%.
3% increase in horsepower. And that seemed to be a really big deal to the dealership because they ended up becoming a dealer. And they had never even heard of us before that.
Right.
But he said that a lot of people will pay, $1,000 for 3% increase on a tune or 3% better exhaust.
Especially on a motorcycle,
Right.
It's not something that you're going to get huge horsepower gains on. You can't even bolt on that much stuff to them. But yeah, it's a perfect product for motorcycles.
4 easy maintenance tips for your bike.
Yep. So we're going to tie in this article to. It's kind of going to be Bike Week around here. We'll call it.
Okay.
We're going to show off the how our FR3 does in the dyno with the Harley Davidson, and then give some maintenance tips for the bikes.
And that's coming out this week on the forum?
Yep, it's going to be on the website and on our Facebook page.
Okay. Oh, that should be exciting.
So remember, post your comments below. We're clearly going to be giving away some TSE today, I guess. So if you have any transmission-related questions, we'll take those. But as normal, we'll take them all. We'll take all your questions, post them below, and we'll get to those.
TSE, one of our favorite products. Okay,
Yep.
TV this weekend. Saturday, we've got Truck U at 10 o'clock.
Yep, they're going to be doing a tech tip on EDT. So that's going to convince you to take advantage of the EDT deal we got going right now on the web.
If you've not used EDT, you need to try it. If you know somebody that hasn't used it, buy a bottle for them.
And that's the product that we sample a lot out at the races and the events. And I love it when we're at the outlaw events because they usually we have a Friday and a Saturday. So we'll have people that come by the booth on a Friday that have never used the product before. I tell them, here, take this, put it in your truck, come back and talk to me tomorrow. And these people regularly will come back, say that because it's an instant gratification. You feel it right away. And they come back the next day and buy a couple bottles of it. So there aren't many additive companies out there that the marketing plan is, here, try it.
Right.
So we have that much confidence behind the product. And it's not cheap for us to sample.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's a very big expense to us to give that much product out.
Especially when you fly to Alaska to do it.
Yeah. Speaking of Alaska, 907 Diesel this weekend, they're having their big Alaska event. So good luck to our guys up at Alaska. We weren't able to make the trip this year. It was an epic trip last year, and maybe TJ or we can get the video that we made from last year and put it up before the weekend's out. But we had a great time with those guys up in Alaska last year. So good luck this weekend, guys, up at 907, and hope you have a great event and hope it turns out well for you.
Also, we're on All Girls Garage on Saturday at 11:30, also on Motor Trend, and they're going to do a break room on Stiction Eliminator.
Yep.
So that should be exciting. Stiction Eliminator is one of our solid products. It's one of the most unique products in the marketplace. It should be good to see that on there.
And it's on sale for our dealers right now.
Oh, excellent.
So there we go. Our TV this weekend is going to remind you to get your orders in.
Okay, so this past weekend, we just returned from the 3rd leg of the Outlaw Diesel Super Series.
Yep. Yeah. Rich and I went down to Virginia Motorsports Park, VMP, one of the most famous tracks in the nation. Beautiful facility. Beautiful. It's clearly the nicest facility the series has ever seen. Some claim it's the flattest track in America, and it's really kind of crazy to your eyeball. It is extremely flat, but beautiful track. We had a great time out there. Gave a lot of that EDT samples away, and had a lot of people visit our booth, and we appreciate everybody coming out. I'm going to give out a shout out to the class winners. We had a lot of Ohio people in the winner's circle, and it was really good to see. So the JAMO ET bracket class winner went to Trent Skinner. He's a fellow Ohio native that grabbed his first ever ODSS win, so congrats to Trent. And just before I was going on, I was checking the standings. An update on that, the ET standings right now, Ryan Riddle's sitting at number 1 in points, and Ken Phillips is sitting at number 2, two of our sponsored drivers from Hot Shot Secrets. So congrats to Ryan and Ken. You guys keep it up. Got a long
1 and
season
2
to
are
go.
our guys?
1 and 2 are our guys. After we're through 3 of, I believe there's 7 legs in the season. So almost the halfway point of the season. And Ryan and Ken are battling for the top spot right now, both running all Hot Shots fluids.
Okay.
And in the ATS Diesel Power 770 class, Nick Morris from Full Spool Diesel Performance won this weekend. I know Nick has been itching to get a win in the series. Nick's out of Cincinnati. He's also a Hot Shot Secret sponsored racer, so he got to put his truck in the winner's circle. The irony was he went head to head against Ryan Riddle, just like Ryan did the last event here in Ohio. And the lineup in that, I noticed for 770 index on the season so far, the points race, Ryan Riddle's number 1, Nick Morris is number 2, and Trey Sykes is number 3.
Man, all
So
3.
1 through 3 are Hot Shots drivers. So
I'm starting to see a pattern.
I'm seeing a pattern too, exactly. The Maryland Performance Diesel 670 index class went to Landon Miller, driving the quad cab for Firepunk. Guess who's he sponsored by? Hot Shot Secret.
Wouldn't
And
know.
he's currently sitting number 1 in the class on the season as well. So, and I'll tell you, that quad cab is something else. This is a truck that they use to tow their big race trailers down, with all the stuff, and they get down there, they unhitch it, and it runs in this class and wins. I mean, it's just crazy. So, congrats to Landon, congrats to the guys at Firepunk. Good job out there. And the Firepunk Diesel Outlaw 590 index class went to Brett Markham. He's he drives the Banghart truck, which is a dealer of ours, and he just edged out Rick Fox for the win. Rick Fox from Firepunk Diesel. We also sponsor Rick Fox, so
Okay.
got us into the finals there. And congrats to Brett Markham for the win on that. That was actually a heck of a race. And the Suncoast Performance Pro Mod class went to Steve Royalty. He edged off the Rudy's. Rawlings Barnes got in there, and I believe they had a $200 part failure. It was a sensor. He had a sensor go bad that had the truck sit down in the mid track. But congrats to Steve Royalty. That's a picture of his truck right there. He's got one of the most unique trucks on the circuit. And Steve is actually right here from Ohio, and he makes all the races. So I believe that was his first win of the season. So congrats to Steve. That's a really competitive class. So congrats on that. And the Flow Pro Dragster class, of course, Jared Jones won that from Shy Diesel. Congrats to Jared. We still don't have a lot of dragsters in the classes, but Jared and Shy still get that dragster out to all the races, and the crowd loves to see it go down the track. So congrats again to Jared. And finally, the Hot Shot Secret Pro Street class. Johnny Gilbert from Stainless wins second time in a row. He is on a roll, and he took out Josh Scruggs, which I got to tell that story. I got to tell the story. But congrats to Johnny. Johnny is absolutely on fire. I mean, he is almost all but locked up the Hot Shot Secret Pro Street class for the year because he's that far ahead. He won last event when they were up here in Ohio, and Johnny's just got that thing rolling. I mean, it's just...
So what's the story?
Okay, so I got to tell you the story about Josh Scruggs. I'll be quick with it. Josh Scruggs is a sponsored racer of ours, originally out of Virginia, and he was the one that bought LaVon Miller's truck.
Okay.
His Pro Street truck to enter into UCC. And if you remember at UCC, the truck blew up on the dyno epically, and he didn't get to finish the weekend. So Josh has just had kind of a rough time of it. Well, since UCC, Josh has moved from Virginia here to Ohio and now works with Firepunk.
Oh, sweet.
So he's kind of joined the Firepunk family, and he's been getting his truck back together. Well, he got it back together to make it down to the race this weekend. So finally the truck's back together. He's out there running. I think he was one of the top qualifiers for the Pro Street class that we sponsor, and unfortunately blew the turbo. And I'm just like, man, this poor guy cannot catch a break. And so I see Josh kind of down on his luck, and it's like, man, what can he do? Well, it turns out the turbo he's got in it, they're not just laying around the pits there, and so it turns out to be the only turbo out there that would really fit his setup is the turbo off Fire Punk's S10. Well, the S10 had its problems this weekend. Some transmission issues that they actually twisted the spline on the transmission of how much power they're putting down.
Torque.
Ripped out the first gear out of another one. They were trying to launch it in second gear. They had all sorts of, problems with it. But here comes Team Fire Punk. I got to give so much credit to these guys. They start tearing down the S10. They pull the turbo out of it, get it into Josh's truck just in time for him to go out there and continue on and compete.
Very nice.
Oh, I'm not done. So he gets out there in the semifinals and wins with the S10's turbo on. In the process of it, he blows the CP3 pump, pushes the freeze plug out of it. And most of the Fire Punk guys were up at the line at this time, enjoying the race. And I went to get my camera off the car, and Josh is back in the pits, like in the dumps again. I'm like, man, this poor guy, he cannot catch a break. Finally made it to the finals, and he's not even going to be able to run, and he's against Johnny Gilbert. So next thing I know, I see just this train of Fire Punk just coming back to the pits, and sure enough, it was like a movie. These guys, they got 6 guys hunched over in the engine bay, 3 guys underneath, another bunch of guys working on the S10. They're going to pull the CP3 off the S10. And there was no way they were going to get to the line in time, but they were going to die trying. And sure enough, Johnny Gilbert, I think he was stalling as much as he could because he wanted to race. He didn't want to take a competition by,
Right.
So he wanted to race somebody for the finals. And so finally, they get him up to the lanes. And I just remember around the corner, here comes this crazy Fire Punk crew getting this car up to the lane under the tower. And I mean, they're buttoning it up as it's coming up to the line, and I think I got a little video. It's pretty cool because then finally, of all the chaos, then I see Levon sitting there just talking Josh through it because they had to rig that thing up somehow. So he's telling them, you're going to have to do this, this, and this to get it down the track. And he lined up and got to make a finals run against Johnny.
Johnny still won.
Johnny got him on the tree, but at least we had a pass. At least they had a good race for the Pro Street Finals, Hot Shots Pro Street Finals, and it was just so cool to see this Fire Punk team, just how they work, and the fact they take apart this like world record truck, just to get.
That's the thing about racing. It's not so much the competition as much as the family atmosphere.
It is.
People really like each other, and there's no hatred anywhere there.
And even to the competition there with Johnny at Stainless Diesel, he was like, "No, I'll wait for these guys. These guys are wrenching, and they want to make a run out of it. Let's run." He's not saying, "Hey, I'm going to get to the line because they can disqualify me." He's not there. So everybody wanted to see a race. Sure enough, we got a race. It was a good race. Congrats to Johnny for pulling it off. Congrats to Josh for getting through all your troubles this weekend. Congrats to Fire Punk for pulling together like the great team they are and giving the crowd a finals to watch. So it was
When's
fun.
the next time they'll race?
The next Outlaw race is in Tennessee. I believe that's July 22nd, that weekend around there. So we got about a month or a few weeks away from that. Crossville, Tennessee. So we'll see if Josh can get the truck back together. Now he's got 2 parts to fix, a turbo and a CP3, but I'm sure he's
Josh will have his chance to take Johnny out this time?
We'll see. Yeah, see if we can get a truck back together. I mean, he's on a good team that's going to get him going. So,
okay.
But I don't know. I mean, even if he takes Johnny out, Johnny's got quite a lead. So the Pro Street class is really killing it this year. So thanks for all you guys out there that support the Hot Shot Secret Pro Street class, and come see us out in Tennessee at Crossville Dragway next month. You can see what these guys do.
Okay, so this weekend coming up, day after tomorrow, we have the Hot Shot Secret Cash Days.
We do local track here.
Pacemakers.
Pacemakers. We're going to try again.
Mount Vernon.
This will be attempt number 4. We've had 3 rainouts, so we are due some nice weather. So if you're local, come on out to Mount Vernon. Like we always say, we have the kids' Power Wheels races. We just have a really good time. So it's a family atmosphere. Support your local track. Come and see us.
And then what's going on with R&D?
It says they're always cooking up something.
I know.
So what are they cooking up
I don't
now?
know. It's not always products. That's the problem. Okay, Kevin back there making a steak on the grill. Okay, so we're working on a full line of RV products. It's one of the things that we're just about done with, but this will be the first line of products specifically made for RVs. And RVs do have a very specific set of problems and issues that other vehicles don't have. It's not like just like racing, you know, you're putting so much torque and so much to those engines. RVing's a little bit different. They sit a long time, so we want to put more fuel stabilizer. The engine oils need more additive because as they sit, a lot of people drive an RV maybe 1,000 miles and then it sits for 2 years. And you're thinking, well, there's only 1,000 miles on the oil, I don't need to change it. Well, the problem is you started that acid process. Once you start the combustion process, you're starting to build up sulfuric and nitric acid in there, and then you just let it sit so it just develops and keeps eating up and munching more. So we really want to change oil or put a stabilizer in there for the oil. The slides on RVs need a special kind of lube. It's not just your standard WD-40. It has to stick in place and it has to be friendly towards rubber and butyls. So we're working on all those issues. The transmissions, one of the things about RV transmissions is they're usually underpowered. I think that RVs out of every vehicle that I know of is the most under-engineered thing there is. What's weird about it is they put so much time and effort into the box or the house, they call it the coach part. You know, ceramic tile, all kinds of fancy lighting, Corian
All
countertops.
the creature comforts inside.
Yeah, but then, you know,
They have the power plant. I mean, they got the power there.
But it's
they
just a
don't always-
it's just a Freightliner power plant with a
Right.
regular Allison transmission. So there's nothing done. They're usually overweighted, so there's no regulations on it. So they like, let's say that truck chassis is made for 30,000 pounds and the box weighs 38,000. It's still going on there.
Right.
There is no safety testing to speak of. You know, cars, they do all this crash testing and all that.
RVs.
Oh, there's nothing. I mean, so, you know, we looked at some of those things. I think one of the bigger areas that we'll see a huge difference is going to be on the transmission of the V10. A lot of the RVs, the gas RVs, whether it's a Class C or Class A, they use a V10, Ford V10 engine. That's the main power plant for them. The newer ones have a 7-speed transmission, but not that long ago they were using a lot of 4-speed transmissions.
Wow.
And those things were really, really, really difficult. You know, it's just like you're going up a hill and you got the pedal all the way down, it's going wah, and you're going like 35 miles an hour. It's like, you know, everybody's going around you.
Yep.
And it sounds like things going to shake apart. But there's only 4 speeds. One of the things that when we were testing it, we put the Transmission Stiction Eliminator in it, and it made a massive difference. I mean, a massive difference. Like you could tell the shifting was different. It was a lot better. It was a lot smoother. We were able to hit 4th gear a lot more instead of 3rd.
It's one of the first things you do to all your RVs is go right to the transmission
Oh,
section.
yeah, yeah.
Because you see such a change in that.
You will see a huge difference, especially in that transmission, that engine. Then the engine oils and the additives and the rest of them we're gonna work on too. But that's one of the areas that they're working on R&D this week. I don't want to get sidetracked because I know we're under tight time restraints today. So remember, if you have any questions, post them now. We got 30 minutes left before we got
Let's
to
check
bail.
if we got any before we get into the products here. Dan Selden, how you doing, Dan? Good seeing you on there. Pig Monkey says, hello, hot shots. How you doing, Pig Monkey?
Pig Monkey, that sounds like a WLW listener.
Yeah, it does. We should. I love watching that screen so the names come up in WLW. Sean Bottomley, TSE, exactly what I need. Artie Moppin, shout out to you guys. Thanks again for letting me pilot the monster this weekend. I didn't tell you that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The company Duramax made its inaugural trip into drag racing.
Oh, really?
And actually got to race in the Outlaw Diesel Series this weekend. Artie Moppin from Diesel Army had to fly in, so the Diesel Army race truck was left behind, and where's he from? He's from South Dakota, or far away. So he wanted to get his points in. So guess which truck was available?
Hot Shot Secret Truck.
Hot Shot Secret Truck. Now,
He didn't even put a tune on it or anything?
no.
Oh, man.
Now, here's the worst part of it, though. I raced it that one time down at Pacemakers. Remember against Trey when Trey was in town? They gave me a half a track length head start, you know. And so I told him, I was like, I broke 10 seconds once in that truck, which is pretty slow. And I was like, it's gonna be hard for you to break 10 seconds. His first pass out there during the testing was like a 9.9. He ended up getting knocked out because he rated too fast. He got the thing running like 9.8s, 9.7s. So now he's blaming me because I undersold how fast our slow truck is. But yeah, he drove too fast for his time and
Really?
got eliminated. Yeah.
Huh.
So we officially have there's points on that truck in the Outlaw Diesel series. So thanks, Artie. We're happy to let you pilot it. That was a good time watching it go down the track.
Did you get pictures?
Yeah, we got some.
Is all that posted?
I don't know. We can check. If not, we got video coming too. Cindy Fisher said, "Hi, Mom. My mom's watching.
Hey,
She's a top fan.
Mrs. Fisher.
You made my mom a top fan. I'm not even a top fan."
How about that?
Ryan Riddle, we were just talking about you, Ryan. How you doing, bud? Congrats on everything this weekend. And
Does Mrs. Fisher know about your girlfriend?
stop. Stop.
We need her name.
Stop. Chris. Yeah, all right. I'll see you.
Look,
at
he looks
Rocky
all
Top.
flustered now. He lost his mojo.
All right, I'll see you at Rocky Top, Art. We'll have the truck out there. So if your truck doesn't make it, we'll see if it's available. Pig Monkey says, "I purchased the lifetime oil changes when I bought my 17 Dodge Ram 2500. Was getting my oil tested. Which package do you recommend for the first test?"
Just regular
TBN. Yeah.
Well, the Spectrum metal with the TBN.
Yeah, we call it the TBN. It's
Right.
how it's listed.
So it would give you all the wear metals. It'll tell us if there's any iron. Well, there's going to be iron in it, but it tells us how much. It tells us the additive package that's in there, and then level TBN. So what that's going to do is give you some idea of the right time to change your oil.
Right.
If you change your oil, say you normally change at 8,000 miles, and you change at 8,000, the oil looks perfect, and there's no reason to change it. Next time you might want to go 9,000. Although if you got lifetime free oil changes,
They usually have them in a window that they have to do it in.
okay, then don't worry about it.
I think
But-
it's probably Pennzoil now on the new Rams.
But what it will tell you is if anything starts to look out of whack, and this is really a good idea for everybody out there, in the 30 years of doing oil analysis for different customers and fleets, I remember one time seeing antifreeze show up in a truck and called the company. It was a semi truck, and he was so grateful because they brought the driver right back. He said he was on his way to New York. He made it over to Pennsylvania. He said had he made it over there and the engine blown, it would have cost him twice as much money to have it rebuilt.
Right.
They were able to bring it back in the shop, change the head gasket, and get it back on the road. We've also noticed things, whenever we start to see anything that looks out of line, we'll let you know. We'll literally call you, email you, and say, hey, there's something that doesn't look right here. There's too much iron, there's fuel showing up, something's not working. But we can tell all that from oil analysis. And
So Pig Monkey, just go with the standard one. I think they're about $15 for the standard one. It is money well spent. Good peace of mind there. Sean Bottomley says, okay, speaking of TSE, today's hauling a camper, 60 miles per hour, 82 degrees. Trans temp gauge peaked to 180 degrees. How much lower temp could I see by replacing a quart with TSE? That's a 2000 7.3 F250 Super Duty.
in the past, we have gotten a 15-degree drop on the same thing, so we should have dropped that down to 165.
Yep.
And you should actually see that within 20 minutes. It's pretty fast.
Yep.
And I'm not even sure if you have to replace a quart. You could just top it off. That transmission system is pretty robust. I don't know how much is in there, but it's a lot. We've put a quart in before and not seen it move on the stick, so
They're pretty big, yeah.
yeah. I think they hold like 5 gallons.
Tom Perini, Eric Perini are both watching. How you guys doing?
Hey, Tom.
I think I saw that you guys might be out at Pacemakers this weekend for Cash Days. So hopefully.
All right.
Zan Martin's watching. Hey, Zan. Artie says, love that you're on Diesel Arm. Hey, Artie, you know we are. Ryan Riddle, Team Hotshot Secret for the win, for sure. Ryan is killing it this year. Okay, so Evan Tracy says, put the green fleet oil in my truck last week and 5,000 miles on it now. I have now got a whole additional 1 mile per gallon on my semi using a combination of your products. You guys made diesel ownership great again. Thank you.
Hey, we love stories like that. 1 mile per gallon is huge if on a semi truck. That's really huge. It's huge on an RV too, because they're not known for getting good fuel economy.
Right. Christian Bates asks, so does this help keep trans temp down?
Yes,
Again,
it'll bring the
which
transit,
does.
and we're going to explain why in a second,
Mm-hmm.
and how we've been able to determine that.
Have you come out, Ron Bishop asked, have you come out with the trans fluid for the Ram Eco Diesel yet? No. But we're working on it. That's a close one. That's,
The synchro mesh.
no,
Oh,
that's a little different. This is the one that's got the, it's got the weird color because it's got the dye already put into it. And I know we're working with somebody out of the Las Vegas area who's got it really figured out, and we're working on developing the fluid so it can meet all of Mopar spec on that. And I know that's in the lab, so I don't know where it's at. Maybe next time we have Kevin on, we can get an update exactly where we're at on that. But I know it's something that a lot of people are looking for, and I don't know if anybody's working on it besides us. I mean, so we have that ability to go after a little niche market like that, and so we got enough calls on that one, enough interest that we went after it. So we will keep you posted. Will TSE work in the Ram EcoDiesel? Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So in the meantime, before we come out with that fluid.
Use the Transmission Stiction Eliminator, the TSE.
Yep. And Tom says he'll be there. Cool, Tom. I'll see you out there on Saturday, bud. And that catches us up. So
Okay.
we're going to get into transmission problems and TSE.
Okay, so let me start with the overview of why we came out with the Transmission Stiction Eliminator. This was a little while back, but what we found is that in the transmission, we get a tiny fine layer of stiction, in a Ford 6-liter or in a 7.3 or any other diesel engine on the inside. You can visually see the stiction build up the hotter and the more pressure you put it under. Transmission, it's much, much smaller. It's microscope size, but the tolerances are so tight and things are sliding back and forth so much that it doesn't take much to gum it up. So the problem with the transmission fluid is they're one of the hardest fluids to make and keep in spec, and this is why. The fluid has to act exactly the same at -50 as it does at 100 degrees. So it can't get any thinner because all that whole transmission is counting on that fluid to keep everything moving just right. Okay, so the same way with the metals, we need X amount of friction built in, but we can't have too much or too little.
Right.
If you get too little, then things start slipping around and nothing works. So it's a very delicate system. So there's not a lot that you can do from the additive standpoint to fix it. But we figured it out. And this is what we did. We used a special Group 5 ester that basically becomes part of the base oil in the transmission. So we're not setting the balance of those additives out of place. It looks exactly the same the day after as the day you put it in. But what we're doing by adding a synthetic to the oil, the base oil, is it adds a certain amount of polarity, and it goes in and it coats everything to the degree that it wants to drive itself down below the stiction. And again, just to quantify this so it makes more sense. If you can imagine the stiction inside of a diesel engine as duct tape, the stiction inside of a transmission is more like that blue Scotch tape that you use for painting, that blue painter's tape.
Painter's tape, yep.
So it's in there, but it doesn't have that tenaciousness that you would have with the inside of an engine. If you pull an engine apart and look at the stiction in there, it's nasty,
Yeah.
black, coked up, and it's really tough to get off. Where in a transmission, it's much lighter. It's a lot easier to remove, but again, you can't do a lot to do that, to get rid of it. So what this does is it bores itself below that and frees that up, and then puts basically a layer of microscopic ball bearings out of oil molecules. Now, this is the caveat. It's oil molecules, not metals, which additives in things are metals. So those, or carbon, like in our
Like a carbon
nanocarbon.
technology,
Yeah, so if we're looking at nanocarbons, it's a layer of nano down there, nano balls. Here, it's actually oil molecules. Now, one of the things that we notice is we get better pressure. The pressures will come down a little bit. The temperatures come down immediately. So what we think is happening, and it's not from lack of studying, because we've done a lot of studies, a lot of tests, and we tried to figure this out. But even in the whole tribology scientific community, a lot of what we do is we try to speculate based on what we're seeing. That's just the way science works. And one of the things that happens that's very peculiar is the temperature comes down quickly, so fast that it doesn't make sense that it's just friction reduction. Okay, so what we're speculating is, if you can imagine, like a river, you see on the river, you got all these jagged edges on the side of the river, and you got the water going down the middle. Say 80% of the water is going 10 miles per hour, and 10% of it's going, or the rest of it is going, say, 5 miles per hour.
You see almost like the little whirly pools along the side.
It's making all these little eddies on the side. Okay, so we think the same thing happens inside of a fluid system.
Sure.
The majority of the fluid's going down the middle at one speed, and then the rest is getting hung up on the sides. So we think by going in there and replacing the sides with this slippery oil molecules, it's forcing a lot of the additives, a lot of the oil that's generally not getting used, it's pulling it into the sump. So now you're dispersing that 180 degrees. Instead of dispersing it on 4 gallons, you're dispersing it over 5 gallons.
Right.
So now you got a reduction in temperature. You get an increase in efficiency, which is really peculiar because it's hard to gain efficiencies on the transmission, but at Fire Pump we did gain some efficiencies using the TSE. So we know we're affecting the system in a positive way. Now it's not like using diesel extreme, the combustion process is hugely inefficient. It seems like it's efficient, but it's not. I mean, it's only like 30% efficient. So to affect that is a lot easier than a transmission, which is probably, I don't know what the true number is, but it's probably 90% efficient.
Right.
So matter of fact, it may be. I mean, if you think about it, they're saying that manual transmissions aren't any more efficient than an automatic transmission now. Matter of fact, I don't think
nowadays,
right. I don't think anybody's making a manual transmission anymore. I read an article in one of the car driver magazines that we got here.
You can still get them. You still get them in modern muscle cars.
Well, they were just saying that they're taking them out of production.
Oh.
That nobody buys them, nobody knows how to drive them, so they're not going to do it
Nobody knows how to
anymore.
drive anymore.
So, there's just not a demand for it. But my point is, the transmission is extremely efficient. If even in a manual transmission where you have a direct gear on gear, if the automatic transmission can match that, there's not a lot of efficiency loss. But we're still able to increase the efficiency by making the fluid become more efficient. And I think that's what we're doing with the esters.
Sure. Question for you.
Okay?
You said that the transmission is a little bit easier to clean than the engine. Just basically, it's not as coked up and varnished.
Exactly.
Is it tighter nooks and crannies, if you will, like a valve body? I mean, if you open one up, you see how there's all these little tunnels and paths.
Not only are there more nooks and crannies, and maybe one of our experts out in the field can look this up and find out for us, but I would be willing to bet that there's probably more square inches of metal in the transmission.
Because of all the surface.
Yeah, there's so much surface area,
Yeah.
so there's a lot more room to have issues.
Right.
And the tolerances are tighter.
Right.
And the amount of force behind the shifting is much less. So I mean, imagine a piston. There's hardly anything gonna stop that baby.
Yeah.
You can have
It's
a
gonna
crap ton of stiction in there, it's still gonna
It's
go.
gonna go.
Okay, but if you're looking at a throttle ball or one of the little BBs in there, it doesn't take much to stop it or to slow it down. So the tolerances are much less. It's a different type of system, but it still has its own issues.
I just kind of laughed because the company truck just went by and I saw it still has its racer number on the window. Okay, got another question for you.
Okay.
This is personal question on it that I don't know about. We now have transmission fluids that we offer. We have a racing line and a sphere duty line, both in a Type F, Allison C4, and then more of a Deck 6 ATF type of blend. Well, we see that we have. Do we have any TSE in that fluid?
We would, it'd be part of the formulation would be to put the esters in there.
So if you're running our transmission fluid, there'd be no need to add any TSE to it.
Correct.
Okay.
So you're all set. I mean,
Same thing when you're running our engine oil. You don't need to add FR3 to it.
No, we're
We already
top
put it
tier.
in there.
Right. What we're doing is we're making the fluids for the people that want the absolute best. But then if you can't handle that, you can handle it. But if you don't want to do that,
Right.
there's a lot of reasons. It's, there's no judgment here. It's like sometimes it just doesn't make sense, So if you just want a top treat, we have the top treat products, and then we have the full boat. So these are made to be top treats.
So, speaking of transmission and our trans fluids, which obviously have this formulated into it, I wanted to read this real quick because Ryan Riddle's on. Like I said, Ryan Riddle won again this weekend. He's leading ODS in 2 classes. And after the race this weekend, he put up this post, which I want to read real quick because Ryan's awesome and I appreciate him doing this. He says, I've got to give credit where credit is due. Hot Shots Secret makes some of the highest quality products on the market. Since coming on board the Hot Shots racing team, the race truck has been more consistent than ever. Not only consistent, but the adrenaline line fluids have taken the beating better than any fluids I've tried in the past. The transmission fluid has dissipated heat the best of any fluid I've ever run before. Making 14 passes at ODR event with a failed engine fan clutch, trans oil still never got over 150 degrees, where in the past I'd be holding 190, 200 degrees easy. And now mind you, Ryan races 2 classes, so he a lot of times has to hot lap back to get there, so he doesn't even have cool down time. Racing at Holly Rock Custom Summer Diesel Showdown this past weekend, hot lapping over and over once again, I never saw more than 160 degrees, and it was 85 to 88 degrees sunny day outside. In addition to that, we also set a truck's new best time in an all-out pass grudge race against Landon Miller from Firepunk. Best products out there, proven by street trucks, fleet trucks, race trucks, and science. I recommend Hot Shot Secret products to anyone. Thanks,
Wow.
Ryan.
Thank
Couldn't
you
said it
very
better.
much. Hey,
But the actual data in there that he's actually able to hot lap that and keep his trans temp 150, even 160. It was hot down there, and he kept it under 160. When normally his truck would see 190 to 200 before he came on our team and started using our trans fluid. So it really is what you're saying is what's keeping those trans temps down.
Well, that's part, in his case, it's that plus it's also advanced engineering.
Sure.
So the molecule on the synthetics, because those would be synthetic oils, are 10 times smaller than the molecules in regular oil. Literally 10 times. That's the scale. So
Is
there's
this the beach ball thing and the tennis ball thing?
Well, that too, but what I'm thinking is more in terms of you have 10 conventional oil molecules for every, or 10 synthetics for every conventional. So imagine you're trying to flow 1 million BBs through a tube or 100,000 golf balls through a tube. Which one's going to flow better?
Right.
Which one's going to make it through those passages and everything easier? Well, it's going to be the BBs because they just make sense, right?
Right.
Well, not only that, but just think of the surface area of those and how you're getting rid of the heat, you're reducing the friction. It works better.
Sure.
So and then on top of that, because we're going top of the best of the best at this point, the additive packages, there's no holding back. So now we're giving it all we got. Now that doesn't mean that other companies couldn't necessarily do that, just that they don't want to.
Sure.
So could Shell make a transmission fluid that could do that? Yeah, but that's not what they do. We want to make a basic transmission fluid that works in semi trucks because we want to put it on the shelf, have people buy it, and move on. That's not what we do. We go after problems like this and say, okay, if I had a racing truck and I wanted to make the best transmission fluid that could be made for it, how would I do it? What base oil would I start with? How would I treat that base oil with other base oils? So it's not just one. We're using a PAO, then we're adding esters, and then we're adding additives. Now, which additives do we use? And then how do we blend? Believe it or not, that's a tricky thing. If you just put the additives into the PAO, it won't mix. You have to put the additive into the ester and then blend it into the PAO.
It'll come out a solution if you put it in.
Yep. So it's a
Did you
process.
figure that out the hard way?
No, we just know. I mean, it's common practice.
That's a science
but,
thing.
But the point is, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, all in, if you look at high performance transmission fluids, that's a very, very tiny, less than 1% of the market.
Right.
Most companies aren't going to chase it.
Right.
So they leave it up to custom companies like us to develop something like that. That's why it's so much special. That's why it's so much better. The results that he's listing out there, those are true. That's not, oh, he just thought, no, that's exactly how it's supposed to work. And the reason is because we engineered it that way.
Right.
And you're seeing the fruits of that.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, that
transmission
wasn't
fluid.
us writing that either. Like, I
No.
actually had to message Ryan to ask him to make that shareable so I could share it because it was just on his private page there. So we appreciate it, Ryan, for
Yes,
for that
thank you very
feedback.
much. And it gave us a great talking points to explain how the product works. Hopefully I did that.
You did.
clearly. We got 15 minutes.
All right, well, let's get some questions. Back to the questions. We have quite a few here. Ron Bishop says, I run your products all the time in my EcoDiesel. Well, to answer your other question, Ron, you can go ahead and add TSE to the list for that transmission and keep your eye out for the transmission fluid we got coming. Dusty Hopper says, going to miss your team up in Alaska this weekend at the Prowl for Power by 907 Diesel. Thanks for the support Hot Shot Secret has given the event. Absolutely, Dusty. Good luck up there, guys. Wish we could make it again. We had a blast last year. Thanks for the hospitality, and good luck this weekend at the event. Sean Bottomley says, just to let you guys know, you sent me some 85W140 rear diff. The binding stopped surring turning.
I don't know.
The binding stopped. That's the good part
All
of it
right.
right there.
It sounds like a good thing.
Sounds like, I think he updated that last week. He said it was quieting down, so the
Okay,
fact
good.
that it stopped is good. Christian Bates says, so how much TSE would you recommend to notice a difference in temp and shifting on a 4R100 transmission? Did know about it when I replaced my transmission earlier this year, and I'm currently just running synthetic trans oil. So a 4R100 transmission.
I don't know how much that holds, but normally for like a 5-quart system, we're saying 8 ounces. And
5-quart system? I thought this was... Yeah, it's
20
5%.
quart, they're saying, this would treat a 20 quart system, which.
Yeah, it's
that'd be-
5%.
Yeah, so that'd be like a five gallon. I think most pickup trucks are around 20 quarts, so you'd need 1 quart. And one of the things that you can do, because I know this has come up as a question before, and I have personally tried it, and it does work. And when I say I personally tried it, we were doing this back in 2000, well, actually back in 1999 and 98. We would use this product before we change transmissions because it would go in there and clean up ahead of time. And it was able to pull a lot more out. So we were selling to shops to use as a pre-treat, like the week before. So then when they did drain the transmission, everything would be out.
Right.
And then later on, we came up with the idea of putting it in after. And that's when we found the performance gains and said, hey,
Sure.
we're missing the boat on this. We
Sure.
should, yeah. So then we did testing to make sure that the transmission fluid was still in spec. So like if we add this to a transmission, let's take a sample and send it in the lab, we're still in spec. So that's how we developed it over the last 20 years. So it's a great product before and after you change the transmission fluid.
Preventative or as a restorative.
Yeah, like if you just think about how it's working, it's going there and cleaning the surfaces and pushing off the stiction. It just makes sense.
And there's some polarity going on there, right?
Yep, it's a very polar product, which is what makes it very unique. And that just means that it's like an electrostatic charge. All oils have some sort of charge, positive or negative. And what we're able to do is go down and it wants to plate itself to the steel. That specific molecule does. So that's what gives us the synergistic effect that we get.
And I haven't said my favorite line yet. I'm surprised Levi hasn't made fun of me. It's also our only additive that has no additive.
That's right.
It is a pure Group 5 ester. It's the best of the best.
It's a 100% Group 5 ester, and there are literally thousands and thousands of Group 5 esters to choose from. So this one very specifically works for the application we're using in it. That's why it's special.
Yep. Okay, so Jason Williams says 2003 F250 has throttle hesitation till the truck is up to temperature, which is about 184. Any idea what I could use to help that? No codes at all. It's a 6-liter turbo diesel.
Stiction Eliminator.
Yep.
I mean, that's when we first developed Stiction Eliminator was for the 6.0. Let us know if you're using Stiction Eliminator, but usually what happens is the stiction builds up inside the injectors, it slows it down, and in the turbo and other places also. Once it gets up to temperature, the oil is much thinner and more runny, just as you would imagine. When you heat oil up, it gets thinner. So now it's flowing better, and it loses that hesitation. But whenever, especially when you have hard cold starts and it's difficult when the truck is cold, best chance it's going to be Stiction, and especially with a 6-liter. 6 liters and 7.3s, Internationals, Caterpillars, those are the ones that have the biggest problem. Anything that's got a high pressure oil pump, you're looking at issues.
Yep. Next up, we've got. Oh, Christian Bateskin says, noticing my trans temp was around 190 driving through hill country, and it was about 90 degrees outside, I assume. So not wanting to have any heat issues this summer when temps rise. It's a 2001 7.3.
If you're getting 190, that's pretty toasty for any oil. We're going to give you a bottle of Transmission Stiction Eliminator. So send us your contact information.
Get them right here.
And then report back and see if we're not down to 175, because I'm betting that's what'll happen.
Oh, somebody bought it. Binding stopped during turning. That's what he was talking about with the gears. Gotcha. Okay. And we have Darren Hamlin says Cummins trucks are the only ones available with a manual, I believe. I think that is true. Andy Shank from RTM there. Tremec is really the only current manual trans builder. Chris is right. Almost all new cars are autos. I believe new cars with manuals are now under 5%.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising. And actually, speaking to Tremec and transmissions, I just spoke with our friends over at Mid-Ohio yesterday, the racetrack. We partnered up with Summit Racing Equipment and BMR Racing and Mid-Ohio on a really cool build that if anybody watches Engine Builder on television, it's the Fox Body Mustang Endurance car that they just redid the motor on, tripled the horsepower. We've come on board to supply all the fluids for the vehicle. I'm actually going to be visiting them next week to deliver all the fluids. And the last one we're working on right now is that they've got a Tremec, one of the 600 transmissions, manual. And these are endurance cars. These 8, 12, 24-hour events. So I'm hearing from our R&D that trans fluid, because we just are currently offering automatic trans fluid. This is a manual, but we're going to work on it for them.
What is the strongest or the most rigorous endurance race in the world?
Probably 24-hour one. I mean, they have 24-hour Le Mans. They've got a few different 24-hour races.
We should sponsor some of those guys. Isn't that our thing?
Sure. Hashtag not my budget.
Come on, Kyle. You're the racing guy.
Well, we do. Our USMC racing guys.
Are they in the endurance race?
Oh, yeah. And they take that car, and we got some news coming about them soon. Actually, I believe we got them scheduled to go live with us here in a couple weeks when we get back from the holidays. So yeah, and
so let's just get them. Let's make it so that they win.
Amen. I like it. And our friend, let's see, where was it? We did some testing out in Utah on Cameron Lawrence, our friend Cameron Lawrence, who's a professional race car driver, was out he does race training and he does some testing on some vehicles. He was out at this really famous test track out in Utah, and he called me and he's like, I talked these guys into trying the FR3. So they ended up putting the FR3 in these. They were Lamborghini Gallardo GT3s, like the race version of the Lamborghinis, and they put it in a couple of vehicles, and they had every computer known to earth on these things, the amount of data they got. And I believe these were endurance cars, and we were getting their temps down 6 degrees, which in that world, if they can get down to half a degree, it's like huge, So we had some really good data on that. So maybe endurance racing is our thing. Maybe that's where.
So do we have Hot Shot Secret on the side of a Lamborghini?
I wish.
Do we get to test drive that?
That's what I need. Hey, you're grounded from speed. You're going too fast with the Beamer. I don't think you can handle Lamborghini. So.
Well, not on County Road 20.
Yeah, that's true. All right, any other questions here? We got Martin says, great show and info. Thanks for watching, Martin. James Williams says, I've used Stiction Eliminator several times, several treatments, 3 to be exact. I don't know if he's responding to something there. Brent Hilliard asks, how long is best to put in TSE before a full tranny flush? 6 liter with 170,000 miles on it.
I would do it like a week before. Or just any time. As soon as you put it in there, you're going to increase the efficiency. So there's, if you're planning on changing it in October, it's still worth it putting in today. You're going to get.
But the longer it's in, the better
it's going to do. Yeah.
Better it's going to do. So.
So, and just so you know, like the transmission stiction eliminator will help if you have rough time shifting. Like sometimes you can feel the shift when a truck or a car shifts. It'll help that. If it's slipping in and out of gear, it will help that. We've actually had people use it in a transmission where the transmission literally would not shift. One of the people that we knew here is actually a salesman for us. It's kind of a funny story.
Oh, is this the?
He had a Cadillac with 400,000 miles on it. And he's a road warrior, and he was shifted it into reverse, and he said it was like I hit a brick wall. He said it just stopped. He said, it literally felt like it hit a brick wall.
Locked up, right?
And he said, so it's at the shop, and he said, I've already had the engine rebuilt, and it's got 460,000 miles on it. Do you think it's worth having the transmission done? I said, we make a product for this.
You sell it.
You sell it. And he's like, no, I guess, does that work? I said, what do you mean, does that work? I said, yes, it works. I said, look, stop by the office, get a bottle, put it in there. It was fun. It was really funny. We should have videotaped this or taped it, whatever they call it now. But anyway, you tell them old when we talk about videotaping. So he took it to the shop, and the mechanic gave him all kinds of grief about it. This is stupid. You're wasting my time. It's not going to work. And they had already drained the transmission fluid out. And he said, just put the transmission fluid in, put this in it. They put it in. He drove it off the lot, drove it for like another year. And I think eventually he did have the transmission rebuilt on it. But he's like, the mechanic could not believe that he drove it off out of the shop. He's like, I can't believe that thing worked. But it does. It does do that in some cases, depending on what the problem is. So anything like that. One of the other areas that will help a little bit, if you have a weeping seal, not heavy leaking, but just, sometimes you get a little bit of transmission fluid coming out around the seal. They call it weeping.
Okay.
Because it is an ester, esters are natural seal swellants. They want to make the rubber get a little bit fatter.
Oh, right.
So it will seal that up and take care of leaks. You can even, use it in an engine to help a main seal.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's not what it's intended for, but it's just one of the side benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say, out of all our products, and here's another important thing to remind people, is that we have 100% money-back guarantee on all our products.
That, yes.
This product is the number one product that you should be cashing in on that deal for, because if you're having a transmission issue, you likely have an expensive repair ahead of you. It is well worth. What's a bottle? The quarts are what, $29, Levi, something like that? 25. Oh, bargain! It is a $25 investment to see if it can save you thousands of dollars. If it does not work, then your problem is bigger than the stiction that this thing fixes, and you probably have a mechanical problem, and you probably have a big bill at the trans shop ahead of you. We want to give you $25 back to make sure you can take care of that problem, but this is exactly why we have it.
And that brings up a good point. A lot of people offer 100% money back guarantee. I cannot stress enough how much we will help you to get that money back. I mean, people have called up and said that product didn't work, and I was upset. It's like, well, just send me a copy of the receipt, a copy of the label, text it to me. Here's my cell phone number. Take a picture of it and text it to me, and we'll get you the money back.
And then we'll follow through to try to help you fix your problem.
Yeah, we do. And honestly, 80% of the people that call in that want a money back guarantee would rather get the problem fixed. So what else have you got? What else can I try? And we do have people on staff that will walk you through. They'll listen to your problem. They'll say, let's try this. If it doesn't work, we'll still give you your money back. So we really do want the product. We want your problem to be fixed. If we're not going to help you, we don't want your money. We really want you to have it back. And I don't know what the numbers are now because I don't sign every check myself. But back when I was doing them all myself, when I signed every check, it was under 5 a week. I mean, under less than 5 people a week would want their money back out of tens of thousands of bottles sold. Yeah.
Oh, we're not even close to that.
No, I don't. I have no idea what it is today because I don't do that. But
a couple a month, I think.
Yes, but we really don't mind giving your money back, and we do.
And we
feel
know
for
some
you.
people are.
If you have a friend or a relative that's having a problem, tell them to try it. If it doesn't work, then just again scan it, email it, take a picture, text it over. We'll take care of it.
And to our dealers out there, if this is not a product you currently stock, it may not be a product that you work on a lot of transmissions. It's a good product to have a few bottles in-house. Grab yourself a case or a half case of it, keep it up there. Because I'll tell you what, people often say, well, now you're taking money out of my pocket. I could have a big transmission expensive repair bill. I will tell you what, you will have a much more happy customer if they bring you a big transmission problem and you send them away with a $25 bill and a fully running transmission. You've got a customer for life then, and that's really what we're trying to do.
And this is available through our dealers, and we have it online. It's also Tractor Supply.
So it is in retail as well.
Yeah, we do have Tractor Supply coast to coast, so you can get it there. It's also good to help tweak out a hydraulic system if you have issues with hydraulics.
Huh.
Yeah,
know that.
I've used it in tractors and backhoes, things like that. It works, that or the FR3. They work in different ways, but they're both effective.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, which kind of ties into that trial, get your money back type of thing. This is our one product that has our happiest customers there are. Because if somebody's using this product, unless they're been educated on it, they're using it as a preventative maintenance. If they're turning to this product, they usually are just not happy people. They're dealing with a transmission problem that they're really scared about. So when they see this works, just go look at the reviews we have on this product online.
Yeah.
You will see some very, very happy people.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? We
got a couple. I guess in product lineup, we're gonna knock this out real quick. Ethan says, okay, this is rapid fire. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ethan, 04 5.9 Cummins with 260,000 miles. What products do you recommend?
Stiction Eliminator, clean the engine out first. Diesel Extreme in the fuel system if you've not used either one of those. Get the deep clean on the fuel side, on the oil side, TSE in the transmission, and then follow up with FR3 in the engine on your next oil change, and then you should use EDT in every tank. It will pay for itself times 6.
You got it. And our fans out there are agreeing with you. Sean tells them, all of them, laughing out loud. Stiction definitely and EDT helps his truck 110%. Christian Bates says he agrees with Sean. You won't be disappointed in the products. Everything that I've used from us, he's been impressed. Evan Tracy likes my not my budget hashtag. I like it. Get him to give me more money for endurance racing. We're good. Brent Hilliard says topped off training with TSE recently before the upcoming flush and noticed difference in shifting almost immediately.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy how I'm telling you, the polarity it just covers every square inch on the inside there. It's a very peculiar, cool product.
And Ethan Dillier says, how do you become a dealer? You contact us. We got a form online. You can send us a private message through our Facebook. You can call in directly. We got a bunch of, you can reach me directly, and I'll get you all set
Just
up.
call the 800 number on the screen and ask for Kyle.
You name it, we'll get it. We're easy to get in touch with. So, and we got a really good deal going right now. So call me today or tomorrow, and you'll get an extra special deal.
Oh, that's a good point.
Christian says, I think they're answering our questions for us. We like it. There's an application form on the website. Sean Bottomley says, try to find TSE in Traverse City, Michigan, no bueno, in Tractor Supply or O'Reilly's. O'Reilly's doesn't carry it. Tractor Supply does. They should have had it in stock.
Yeah.
But they're really the only retailer that carries TSE.
Yeah, Tractor Supply's got the widest selection. If they didn't have it, we'll check on that and see. They usually have a pretty robust reordering process.
All right, we're over. You got to get running. We got to get running. So we're going to give a few bottles away. We said Christian Bates. Make sure you message us your info. Ron Bishop and James Williams. Why don't the three of you guys shoot us a message on a private message with your address, and we will send out a quart of our TSE so you can get that transmission all cleaned up or protected from future problems. And
then get back to us and let us know.
let us know. Yeah,
175, 190 to 175. That's a good story
I like it.
if we can get that far. Okay,
I
well,
like it.
thank you, everybody. We will see you next Thursday. Be sure to share this with everybody you know, and let us know if you have any questions or anything you want to see on the
And this
upcoming
weekend,
episode.
locals come out to Pacemakers Dragway for
Yep.
Hot Shot Secret Cash Days. We'll see you out there Saturday.
Sounds great. Thank you.